Hey, welcome back to Oak Road Diaries.
If you joined us for part one of our conversation with Lily Sais, you'll know that we spent a good amount of time exploring her roots, the inner work, reflections, and experiences that shaped her path.
In part two, we move forward from understanding into embodiment.
In this episode, we talk with Lily about how that inner work shows up in real life, navigating relationships, boundaries, purpose, and growth with intention and self-awareness.
We explore what it means to live in alignment, not perfectly, but honestly, especially when life feels uncertain or messy.
This conversation is about integration, choice, and carrying what we learn inwardly into the way we move through the world.
If part one was about reflection and awareness,
then part two is about practice and living the work.
So come on, take a deep breath, settle in, and join us as we finish our incredible conversation with the founder of Peace from Within, Lily Sais.
I had moved back home to live with my parents, and there was this woman's program. It was like, and so I always do, like, I want to share this with adults. And it was this woman, Danielle Leslie, had a thing called Course from Scratch. And it was like $1,700. And it said, like, you have what you want to do. And she helps you make this course and do like an online group. And I put it on PayPal credit because I didn't have that just laying around.
Sure.
And I thought, well, I've got 6 months. I'm going to give it my all because it was the pandemic. It was like, I wasn't like I had nothing to do. Couldn't even take my kids anywhere. So I thought, I'm going to follow exactly what she says. And at the very least, I hope I can make $1,700 and pay this PayPal credit off in 6 months. And at the most, maybe it's going to change my life. And so I followed all of her steps exactly. And then one of the steps was like, now there was 2 steps that I was like, one was like, text everybody in your phone and be like, I'm starting a new business. Can I put you on my email list? And
That's hard.
No.
You're like, no.
Yeah, nobody to know this. Like, let me fail in silence.
No, everyone's going to ask me.
I just felt like it was so embarrassing to be like, I'm starting a new career. But I did it. I mean, I don't think I texted everybody, but I probably texted like 75% of all the contacts. Like, huge. I'm starting a new business. And then the second one was like, now post on social media. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's the ooh.
But,
and your social at the time was like maybe some like 1,000 followers or something, just some friends of yours.
Nope. 0.
Oh, you didn't have a social.
Account.
Wow. Okay.
No. I mean, I was like, I'm starting.
Put a plug in how many you have right now, though.
Oh, on Instagram,
It's like 180 something thousand.
0 to
it's like 4 or 5 years.
187K and 420 on TikTok.
Girl.
But I took one photo, like literal not smiling because I was like, you're ugly to smile. So I took it, I was like so cringe, could not smile. I posted it, but then what changed was my daughter was like, Instagram, in 2020 was so much like photos. Like, I don't even think there was reels.
No, video wasn't a thing.
So that's what I first did. And my daughter was like, what about TikTok? And I was like, what is this TikTok? And then I went on and I literally was just dying laughing. And then up came an idea and I was like, I'm going to make a video. And I like filmed this video and it started going by within a few days of me being on TikTok.
What was it?
Oh my God. It was about like health anxiety. It was like to the song, like, if the world was ending, would you come over? Like, no. And I did it on like, am I dying of cancer? No. Or something like,
oh, wow.
It was just a trending audio.
Yeah.
But normally my videos would get like 20 likes. And so I remember, because actually I was in the midst of my divorce and like living with my parents, but they'd ran out their home. So we had to like move to a hotel, my kids and I. And like my kids had online school. My daughter's like guitar lessons, like the guitars in the car. And I remember looking and when it went to 300, I'm like, something's happening. And I'm really bad with
something's peaking.
When it was like almost at 100,000, I was like, it's 1 million. My daughter was like, it's not 1 million. And I was like, I'm getting 1 million views. And I'll wrap up this story, but like my first group when I was launching, I worked so hard and I got like 5 people to join. 1 was from Instagram. Other people was from real life. But then that TikTok video blew up, my followers, and so then my second group, I had like 18, and then the next group, I had like 20, and then so it
Wow.
just
And you charge per
I
person,
was like
right? That's kind of how you did it.
yeah, and I didn't even have a website because Danielle had great advice. She was like, don't get a website yet. Like
Just get out there.
I just did phone calls. Like I'd message people and I'd say like, do you want to talk on the phone? And so I just enrolled people with, with that. And they just Venmoed me every week.
Interesting.
And I did a
Wow.
group and then everything just like, I was so inspired. Um, and I just got such great feedback.
Oh
And
man.
honestly, like when I did an intrusive thoughts video, because I, as a school psychologist, you're always talking about intrusive thoughts. I didn't really know their
Sure.
name, but it was like everybody has them. And I had this kind of download, like make an intrusive thoughts video and talk about all the taboo thoughts. And I remember being like, I don't want to talk about sex and drugs. Like, no. But then I had to start with, well, if you don't, who will? And I'm sure people would, but I was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I did it. And the comments, people were like, I wanted to die until I saw your video. And so I was just like, screenshotting. I literally felt like I could die now and be happy. My purpose has been served. Like it was
That's awesome.
actually it was the most fulfilled until now. Or I mean, like I've never been more fulfilled as a school psychologist, as
Sure.
a parent, or anything. Like making a free TikTok video, like the feedback I got was like,
You're like,
this
wow,
is my
this is where
this
it's
is
at.
yeah, I mean, it sounds and so it was just like the feedback that I got kept encouraging me. Like people were like, and so I'd always sort of be like, whoa. So I don't know. I was like on fire for myself.
Yeah.
Like it was fun and I couldn't stop being inspired. Like now I don't have that much energy but like I do like outfit changes like because it was like the pandemic.
I
Like
know.
all
Oh yeah,
it was
people went crazy with their videos and some silly crap that they
Yeah.
did, but it got attention. It got people hooked. You did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it
and changed my
worked.
life. It
It did.
changed my life. It changed my
So it's
life, my
6 months, you had
finances.
$1,700 bill in your head. How long did it take you to get that off? What was that? When was that stress taken away
Oh,
from you? You're like, I got this.
I made it within the first month. I mean, like,
That's
just
awesome.
signing those people up, I made
Yeah.
it. Um,
You're
When
like,
did you
holy
get out of
shit,
the
I
hotel
got
into
it.
your own place? How long did that take?
oh, well, we were, like, in this hotel it was a beautiful time to live with my parents. I lived with them for about 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll, like, live all over the world, and so sometimes we had to go to Airbnbs, but then, I was able to make enough money, that yeah, we kind of subletted a house, like somebody that was during
Yeah.
the pandemic was taking their family to
They were off
Canada.
doing things. Yeah.
And so it was like but I mean, really coaching and social media changed my life. Like it gave me financial abundance like I've never had, and for me, providing for my family is such a huge driver. And it's such a bonus that I absolutely love what I do. And most of the time I love making videos on social media and I love connecting with
Good to
people
have.
and being able to make free content and then work with people offline or like, in a different
Yeah.
capacity.
So what are these
That's awesome.
you're coaching right now? Is it always still groups? Is that the preferred setting?
No, well, I have a membership, which is really nice because I used to then like be launching like a small group every month or so. And then I love started making courses. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, I just started a monthly membership, and so all my courses are there and all the guest recordings and I make new videos all the time. And twice a week now we have like live group sessions. And then I do see people one on one as well.
Oh,
But
okay.
so it's kind of like open, like people can come to the group. Like every Tuesday we have a weekly well-being call. And then on Thursdays we have our book club. And so we read a book. We're reading a book called The Secret to Mental Health and
Hmm.
we get together, discuss it, and then but you don't have to come, it's just optional and you can always watch the recordings and there's like a giant video library. Like you can type in like fear of throw up and there's videos or like PTSD and I've had, dozens of guests and so it's just like my whole body of work is there. And there's forums, people ask questions, people share their wins, and you can also search there. So somebody might type in whatever fear of flying and they can win. It's a really, there's people from all over the world. And there were
I think
four
that's the
women.
coolest thing right there. its
Yeah.
world, right? As opposed to where you do before. Not that it wasn't impactful, but you were in the district, right? You're
Yeah.
making impact on such a small scale. Now you have this world scale where
It's
all
amazing.
these tools are accessible for people, which is
Yeah.
it's incredible.
So the women, what you're gonna say, Lily?
Oh, I was just gonna say it was like they all joined right when I started, and there were these women, and they became best friends, and they were all like in 3 different countries, and it was
That's
so
awesome.
sweet 'cause they would like celebrate each other's birthdays, and so they'd send me
Oh,
these
that's so huge.
screenshots of the 4 of them on like a FaceTime,
Oh
uh,
man.
and they were, and then I mean I think they've all kind of recovered to various points, and I don't know if any of them are in the membership anymore because it was like 3 years ago, but like they were all there, and 2 of them, one lived in England and then one lived in Florida, and they were like super, super best friends, and they would like plan to live together, but it was like the
Wow.
4, and it was just, so it's wonderful because it's beyond me.
Yeah.
There are people that, a lot of people that will become friends off of there, or just support each other online, and um, it's
That's
so cool.
awesome.
It's like last Thursday, we had like 3 people from the Netherlands, and they're like, all like, I mean, that was the thing that would just like, I was like, can someone pinch me? Like, how
It's
am
like,
I?
whoa, you're down the street from me. Yeah. Like,
So it's a membership. These
Yeah.
people are paying. Walk us through kind of. Well, yeah.
I was
I
just
want
going
to
to
talk
ask you,
about
what is
practical.
your most common thing?
Yeah.
The practical tools. What is the most common
Why
thing
people
that
come to you?
you
Yeah.
see that you're going through month to month or day to day or whatever timeline you want to throw in there?
Yeah. So breaking it down effectively, why are people coming to you? What are they choosing to do, and why? And what are you charging them for it? And what are the tools, like the kind of the general things that you're seeing? We talked about things that you went through, that I went through, that Sam's been through. A lot of people are going through that. So curious as to some of the tools and how you're helping these people get through those.
Yeah. Primarily a lot of people that come to work with me have already tried a lot to help, whether they're experiencing anxiety or OCD. So I work with a lot of people who are very high functioning and they are doers. So like they've already done the therapy, they've already eliminated things from their diet. A lot of people are like they've already tried forcing themselves to do the exposures. They've worked on healing their nervous system. They've done the breath work. They've done this.
Hmm.
So, but well, which is because that's for me. Like, we didn't kind of talk of like when I had panic attacks and severe anxiety, I was like, oh,
Yeah. That's the
like
thing. I want to talk through the
breath work,
tools.
cognitive behavioral therapy, like just like meditation and all these things that can be so wonderful. But if you're
Mhm.
already stressed and tense, and you're like, now I've got to meditate. Now I've got to do my
Ooh.
grounding. Now I'm
Yeah,
going to
we
do
talked
spirit
about this a
breathing.
few months back. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
it's things that can be good, but then you're doing them. And so I work with a lot of people who like already have active brains and they're already doing. And then with anxiety, sometimes the more you do, the more then you're revving up your system, and you're very innocently being like, anxiety's bad. Let me not feel it. What can I do to stop it? Let me catch it early.
Another
Like,
thing that'll give me more anxiety.
yeah. And so
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm going to put a pin right there. So putting these tools in, because this is 100% relatable for myself. Whether it's a habit or not, you're throwing in self-care tools and that overwhelms the shit out of people. Yeah, I know I have anxiety or I have this and I have meditation, but what the hell? It's not working for me. I'm throwing it in every day. I read an article this morning about gratitude. I gotta wake up and be grateful for my day. Oh yeah, asshole. You do gotta be grateful for the day, but you gotta feel it. Don't just say it. You gotta
yeah,
be
there's a
in it.
difference. Yeah, there's a difference. Gratitude is a natural feeling that will arise. But like what I did, I was like, I got to do my gratitude journal.
Sure,
Well, what happens
girl. I'm right
when
there with you. Yeah, yeah.
you're doing it and you're like, I don't feel better. What's wrong with me? Like, I'm meditating, I'm doing my gratitude, I'm doing my whatever manifestation, I'm praying, I got my mantras, I got my sour candy.
My 7
But
pillars are all in line. Why don't I feel this way?
and so what I teach people was what was missing
Yeah.
was an understanding about how we work as human beings. Um, an understanding, and this isn't really in any order, but a big thing was just because we have a thought doesn't mean it was true. We might have heard that, but so I also, a big thing is I share in a way that will touch people in their heart rather than their head. I want people to, you were saying, like when you feel it. So I think a lot of people that I work with already have an intellectual understanding of anxiety.
Mhm.
and, oh, I know this, but they don't know it deeply,
Sure.
and so I talk to them in a way to have like kind of put the intellect to sleep, because I think even with it's like we're so used to
Mhm.
like thinking, 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 and and there's actually a different way to live life, in more trust, in more flow. And so a part of it's seeing one, having a conversation about that we have something beyond the thinking, that it's safe not to think so much, that we are these amazing beings who have wisdom and common sense. This is how beautifully we're designed, so beautifully. Um, and and so that's one of the components. And then also that a big thing is like there's less for you to do. And so when you start to see that we always have wisdom that is waiting to break through at any moment, um, just because we have a thought doesn't mean it's real. And another big thing was that our thinking changes all on its own. That's the nature of thought, is that it flows. Because for me and so many of my people that I work with, it's like, so I'm going to do my tapping to get it to flow, and I'm going to write it out. And what am I going to do am I going to think positively, and then I'm going to be grateful? And it's like, actually, you don't have to do anything. You can be
What do
in
you what do
middle
you mean?
you can be in a middle seat on an airplane and have the thought of feeling trapped. But when you know that just because you have a thought and you feel it doesn't mean it's true, you know that you don't actually need to leave the plane to have a whole new thought and then a whole new feeling. Because that's the nature of thought. That's why people write things down, because we're afraid we're going to forget it, because thought just flows out of your head.
Sure.
And so when you start to see this, so I think a huge part is like there's less for you to do. And then actually, when you start to do less, your mind quiets down. You're not revving up your nervous system, because so many people, like, the nervous system is talked so much about, but then they get afraid, like, is this going to mess up my nervous system? And actually it's I feel like I'm saying so much and I could say so much more, so I'm going to try to, but it's like people start to kind of get a feel for this. And also what I talk about is what's true for all human beings. Because when we start to experience anxiety, we think a lot about ourselves. We feel separate. Oh, other people can do this, but me. And so what I talk about is what's true for all human beings. So you stop taking your experience so personally. Your experience can also feel less scary, so then you're not in resistance to it. You're not like, what tool am I going to use? You're not in your
Right.
head. You're more in your life. You start trusting life again. You start seeing like you can feel anxious, how like I'll see like anxiety. It's also, some of it is like you start to see the predictable thoughts that you have, the predictable feelings. You're like, oh, I'm not so special in the best way. I'm not so unique. It's safe, it's temporary, and it changes all on its own. And so in the conversation, people, they take the pressure off. They stop thinking of themselves as separate. They stop thinking about themselves so much. They're not on guard, but in a way that's totally sustainable. It's not like I'm only going to be okay if I don't drink my coffee and if I meditate and if I do these perfect things. Um, because a lot of people, like, their life gets so small. Sometimes, like, okay, so I don't want to be triggered by this TV show, and I don't want to be triggered if I have too much caffeine, and I don't want to be triggered if I eat Chick-fil-A, and like your life
Oh
gets
yeah.
small. When what you want is your life to feel big and free. And I'll talk about anxiety free as it's not, it's like anxiety is free to come and go. It's not like I'm only going to be okay if I never have an anxious thought or if I never have an anxious feeling. Like you want to put anxiety where it's like, it's not front page news. Like just as you might get annoyed, I can
Mhm.
get annoyed and I don't have to
Like
do anything special. Like
the
I can get sad or bored or anxious, and it's this temporary, it's safe, it changes all on its own. So that was a lot.
No,
So
no, no.
is it anything you're doing, or these individuals that are coming to you, are they doing anything in the moment of this, or is it
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm wondering.
recognizing and letting it flow and letting it go? Or is it just breathe, whatever tool, add whatever tool in and then letting it go? Is it a mixture of both? Is that
No tools, no tools.
no tools at all? Okay.
No tools at all,
That's kind of the whole
because
point of what you're saying.
Whew. Okay.
yeah, no tools, no techniques. Also, but you are free to do anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But what I don't want is people to think, oh, there's something I have to do,
There's another thing.
because
Gotcha.
then you're going to go to your,
Yeah,
what tool am I going to use? Am I using this tool right? And I'm
100%.
right. I'm using it right. Anxiety goes
It's not
away.
working. I'm
You
more
know?
anxious now because it's not working.
Yeah.
I did the 5 breaths.
Um,
What the hell?
yeah. But it's not like people, you're free to do anything.
Sure.
So if somebody like, it's not like you can't use any tools. Like,
Mhm.
you are free, but knowing you don't need to do anything. Because I want people to know they're so free to have to feel anxious in a middle seat on an airplane, when they're having sex, when they're on a podcast, like when they're driving, when they're home alone with their kids. Like, I want this unconditional, limitless freedom that because the thing is we're made so beautifully that we have our own internal toolbox that will be perfect for the situation when you're
Hmm.
not going to your head. Like if you're, say, in a middle seat on an airplane and you start to feel anxious, when you're not like, what tool should I use?
Right.
You'll naturally get an idea. You're made of wisdom and common sense, where it might be, I was touring colleges and universities with my daughter in Europe. And so we'd been on a lot of flights, and coming back from London to LA, at one moment I did feel trapped and I had a thought. I was like, "Ugh," because I'd seen all the same movies. I'd been on the plane for already like 8 hours because we had like delayed leaving. And I know I'm not trapped. And it occurred to me, I need a new book. I'm going to lose myself in a great new book. There's Wi-Fi, got a new book,
Hmm.
and so I'm not being like, you have to sit there.
Yeah.
You're welcome to, if it occurs to you, like, I am going to close my laptop and my hand on my heart and just take a breath or something, but like
Hmm.
it will come from your own thing that will be perfect for this
The mindset
situation.
shift on your tool or lack thereof. In the moment, you will know, you will feel safe to deal with whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Exactly.
That's
People,
that's
you
that's the ticket that you are helping people with. It's not about, hey, throw in this tool. It's about, yeah, that tool might help you, but just listen to yourself first. Listen through that and breathe through it, or just think through it, and whatever your natural self will tell you to handle it or to help it.
Yeah, and sometimes all it is like, "Oh, I'm scaring myself with my thinking." I had a woman who joined last week, 'cause she gave birth the week before last Tuesday. She joined us, she's like, "I had to tell you." She's giving birth, and she got onto herself that she was scaring herself with her thinking. She was in so much pain, and she was, like, having trouble breathing, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is everything that you're talking about. It's me scaring myself with my imagination." And she just it was she just got onto herself, and then it did occur to her to tell the nurse, like, "Hey, I'm having trouble breathing," but she did it from a centered place,
Yeah.
and so she said completely changed her experience of giving birth, and
Wow.
there was no judgment, but she said if she didn't know that, she would have been gripped with anxiety for her birth, but
Yeah.
she recognized it, so it's kind of, like, hard to even put into words, but, like, when you see what you're doing, it's kind of like if you see that you've sat in a position and your foot's gone to sleep, you just notice and you just move it,
Yeah.
you
Right. Right.
know? It's
Yeah.
a lot of people, they don't anything special besides, "Oh, that's what I'm doing. I got so caught up or I was scaring myself." And it's like you when you wake up from a nightmare, you're like, and so people are just waking up, but also they're not judging themselves. They're not thinking it's like it's a gift, like that woman who woke up, to what she was doing mid-birth. And she was like,
Right.
"Oh," like you get kind of like, you're not like, "I can't believe I got anxious again." Because when we have a thought, it gets brought to life with all of our five senses. It's like the cinematographer and the special effects. And so we kind of talk about this where it's like you kind of have this natural gratitude for like how cool, like it's really fun when it's working in our favor, it seems. But when we scare ourselves, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking so much because I just get so excited. Because when you see it, it's like this is this freedom to not fear your experience. And
It's
it's just
almost
the most,
it's almost like being transparent with yourself. It seems so easy that what we're talking about, but I know in the moment when your people are gripped,
Yeah.
it's probably incredibly hard. When you're dealing with a panic attack, and right now we're talking about it from the external aspect, right? But in the moment, when somebody truly is having a panic attack, it seems, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you're putting power into, yeah, my body is experiencing this. Let it go.
yeah.
Am I dumbing it down too much, or am
No,
I
I
am
love
I
it. I
making it
love
too
it.
okay?
No, you're right, because it's that power back into that person, and you're like, "Oh," like, it's not like I'm doing this to myself, but you're
Right.
like, "Oh my god," like, yeah, when you have a panic attack, you you stop fearing it because you also see too, um, one of the first thing when the tide started to turn for me, well, like one of my transitions after not having panic attacks for a while was because it was during COVID. I remember when my kids were about to go back to school, my dad had just got COVID. Everything seemed much more dire. And I was like getting the little masks for my kids.
Sure.
And
Yeah, everyone was on
somebody
edge.
at,
Still
at,
are.
at
Yeah.
yeah, at
Yeah.
CVS was like, he was laughing. And I remember getting to my car and being like, how's anybody laughing? And then I was like, had this bad feeling. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have a panic attack.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that's what's going on. Because when I saw, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm
Interesting.
scaring myself,
Yeah.
but it was like, it wasn't the fear of a panic attack, but it was like, like then you see what's going on, which is like, if you didn't know, why is my foot tingling? It's like, oh, I was sitting on my foot. Oh,
I know
but
you mentioned saying like put the intellect away, but it almost seems like you have to put the intellect into it to get it's almost like your own subconscious mind is I'm trying to explain the words that in my brain that it's basically putting the mental aspect back in and just calling it for what it is. I know it's probably super hard for people that are having those OCD triggers and those grips. Like, how does somebody get out of touching the light? Is that not what your work is teaching individuals?
yeah, well, I think like,
That was just
you know,
one example, obviously, but
yeah, no, I think it's okay. This is just what is occurring to me in the moment, would be
Mhm.
the first thing is like, you're not focusing on not touching, not doing that. Because if they think, I have to not do that, then it
Yeah,
feels so much better. But I think the behavior, a compulsion, is something that somebody's doing to soothe the anxiety, you know? And so what I share is kind of a natural, you naturally have less anxiety. Your thinking naturally slows down. You naturally feel less separate. Like there's just more trust, more appreciation,
mm,
more connection. Um, and I never actually tell people, stop this compulsion. Don't ask for reassurance. You're free to do it. You're
sure,
free to do it. And so there's also this pressure's off. I can
sure.
wait, I can touch the light bulb or I can turn off the light 10 times.
15 other therapists told me to stop.
Yeah, and so, um, it's it just works out that people,
Hmm,
um, they their mind quiets, their thinking quiets down. There's less like, there's just more peace, more understanding, and more trust, kind of what you're saying, like more trust in how we are, which naturally, um, we have less anxiety, so there's less, but yeah, it's like people's kind of behaviors or compulsions just naturally fall away. Or if there's a few, they're like, well, I'm quirky. Like, who
yeah.
cares if I take a picture of my flat iron? Like, who's to
I
say that's
mean,
wrong? Like, okay, turn it off,
what a
moving on.
great
Not a
random example.
like, okay, oh my God, I have to. Or I had some clients that sometimes their therapist very innocently were like, you have to play with a Ouija board and you have to read the horror book. And then they're like, I'm like, do you want to? They're like, no, I don't care about
Like
playing with a
it doesn't feel
That's like you have
natural
to
for me to
face
be
it head
doing that
on
stuff.
kind of situation. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So,
I get that.
um,
Well, that plays, I mean, that really does. Like your work and the amount of people out there, Jared and I, we brought in our, of course we have the 7 pillars, but the two main ones that I think, at least that seem very natural for Jared and I, is occupational and mental pillar, right? Our occupations drive a lot of the anxieties that we see in the world. I mean, minus the fact that we have our own upbringings and childhood stuff that we come along with, but now you have your work, which is the majority of what we all live, right? We have XYZ task on top of it, on top of dealing with our families and things like that. So how it's a loaded question. How do we remove or how do we feel into those I guess triggers? Those things that I guess it all comes down and stems down to the anxieties, right? The ridiculous, what whiteboard, and we have 15 tasks on the whiteboard that we have to complete. Anxiety is anxiety. It doesn't matter what creates it, right? It's basically slowing down your thought process, your emotional process as well, and feeling into those. Yeah, I'm stressed out because I have 15 tasks right now that I'm looking at, and they're not going to go away. until I do one thing at a time. And that's the only thing that's going to get me out of my anxious mood. Is that more or less?
Well, I think it's very individual. Like, so I might have a different take on that.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, whatever makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Like, there's many roads to peace and a happy life and a content life. In that instance, I've got 15 things. Overwhelm is thinking I need to do all of those. So if you look at all 15, you can naturally think, I have to do those and I'm not going to be at peace. And sure, one way might be I check them off one by
Hmm.
one and then I have peace of mind. Or you also might be like, um, what I noticed there was a couple years ago where I would notice that my schedule was busy and I would look at my schedule and I'd be like, but what I actually saw was if I'm in my one thing and I go to my next thing and I go to my next thing. So then I'm here, I'm doing a podcast. And I don't even know if I'm conveying it right, but it's overwhelming if I look at my calendar. But
Oh,
when
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I'm overwhelming myself but I have so much peace and capacity if I'm going from one thing to the next, because that's how we're designed as human beings. And you kind of said that, to do one thing
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
And it can look like we can overwhelm ourselves thinking that we have to do that all at once. But there's infinite things, because sometimes we're not going to get all 15 done, and we don't want to have to wait to feel at peace to get all 15 done. Kind of
Heck
like what I
no.
was like realizing, like, I'm making up that I needed to get all 15 done. Like,
Right.
you might, but you're not just telling yourself. You want to feel that it's true, that, like, sometimes, kind of going back to many times ago of talking about weight
Mhm.
and
I
body,
was just
like,
going to bring back that. Yeah, I'm not going to be happy until I lose those 15 pounds, or if I eat.
exactly. And then what I
Yeah.
realize is I'm making that up. Like, if I get
Right.
on the scale and I'm still like, I'm actually very at peace with it. If I make up, like, I want to weigh blah, 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 and I wake up and I'm like 2 pounds away from it, I love when I'm like, I'm making this up. Or, like, if I make up, I want
That's
my
great.
monthly income to be this, or I love to, like, not be so serious. In
Yeah.
2026, I want to make a talking video every day. There are a few days I don't make a video. Like,
Sure.
but so I give myself the grace of, if it's one day, I'm like, one day. Like, because I realize I'm making this up. I'm making up. I got to get all
Yeah,
these
we're all
15.
doing it to ourselves.
Mm.
We got to stop. Like,
Yeah. Well, but you know what I mean? So that's where, and it's
yeah.
like, take the pressure off. Like, I notice when I get serious and I get grippy, because it's like, I want to be thin and rich and hot and
Yeah.
so productive. And I want to, create generational wealth and help everybody. And then I get so tight and serious, it feels so bad and it wakes me up.
Yeah.
So if I had all 15, I'd probably, if there's pressure to do it and that wakes me up, like, we can do this, and then we fall out. And
Sure.
then actually, without the pressure, you might get all 15 done, or you might get 3, but you can feel at peace either or, like,
Hmm.
that it's not like I'm only going to feel good when I lose 15 pounds and I make 15K consistently and I get
Sure.
all 15 tasks done. It's like knowing, I don't know, we can just wake up to what we're doing. Like, oh, I'm
Ah, you
making that.
said it right there. Wake up.
Yeah,
We
that's what
we
I
need
think.
to we need to wake up.
Well, and have grace. You said another big thing there. And just have grace with yourself.
Yeah.
You made the goal, like you said, this year you want to make a talking video every day. Okay. That's a great goal. And as you get into it, you're like, okay, that was a great goal back then. But as I'm seeing how life is going, I was doing 3 a week every day. Honestly, 4 or 5 a week is really great, you know? And I'm happy with that. And you gotta like have grace with yourself. Like let it evolve.
Mm.
We're living, breathing organisms, and like these goals that we have, right, to become the type of person that we want to become, which I think are really great things. I mean, and we should be actively engaged in bettering ourselves for sure. But if it gets to the point so much that we just become so numb, it's not proactive. It's not doing what we want
It's
to
not
do.
doing
You know
its
what I mean?
purpose.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
stumbling block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Having grace. Yeah, we learned that a few months back from Vince Dickerson, one of our
Mm.
previous guests. If you ever heard of him,
No.
we found out some things about myself where I already knew that I was a perfectionist. Um, definitely to a fault, and in some ways it's done really well. But after that show, it definitely hit me where, man, I'm doing it to myself. Like, yeah, I still have those moments where it's gotta be perfect,
Yeah.
because if it's not perfect, I look at it as it's lazy. Individuals are lazy. If you're not putting all that effort in, why do it at all? Like, if you're not putting effort into yourself, why do any of this? Why self-improvement? Why your job. You might as well just go live in the woods or in the desert and just leave everyone alone, including yourself, and just exist.
When I think, Sam, I don't want to cut you off. Made me think of something, and this goes along with I think what Lily's saying as well. And I honestly, what my wife has talked about a lot, which is we've become so preoccupied listening to everybody else and not ourselves,
Yeah.
and just taking way too much time. Like you were saying, you obsessed over the paleo thing and whatever else, right? And it's okay to like go out there and find the Lilies of the world and certain tools and individuals that can help you and assist you. Put that in the toolbox. But again, take more time with yourself, right? And just
Yeah.
like you said, you're stuck in the stinking middle seat. Don't go research what should I do when I'm stuck in a middle seat, right? You don't have internet, so you can't, right? Like, so it's like you need to listen to yourself and just trust yourself and be okay with the outcome. Maybe that didn't work so well. You got 8 hours to figure it out, work through all the different iterations and you'll probably find something. I don't know. I just think it's just like, and I'm very much like you, Lily, in that I often feel like, I think it's a hit of dopamine as well, because as you listen to other people, everything new feels like it's a hit of dopamine, and you feel like you're going to get an answer to this problem that you have.
You're like, yes, I found the Holy Grail.
Yeah. And it's like, you're on this constant high of like freaking, oh yeah, here's an answer. And it's like, holy crap, just like take a minute, and just, anyway, I do that. Like I find myself going through like listening to certain books and podcasts, and then I just stop. I'm like, okay, now I got to internalize everything I just learned,
Yeah. I love what you said, because that's what I do in my coaching is I really help people go inward. Like I ask them questions. Like sometimes I give advice, but like I'm often like I ask questions so they can like just genuinely either to help me have clarity, but like usually they have their own insights. Yeah. And then it's like I remember once I looked at what's the opposite of anxiety, and it's trust. It's not calm, it's trust. So I think what you said is like that's what I is point people back within, but be something beyond their anxiety, this natural wisdom. And whether it's an idea for a podcast or an idea to entertain us in a middle seat, or like we have that. This is this innate intelligence that is in butterflies, that's in birds that migrate, that's in an acorn that grows into an oak tree, that's in us that heals our bones and grows babies. Like this is in every single person, that also gives you a knowing that's going to be at the precise moment you need it and not a moment before. And like that's always there. And so often that's what I ask people about. And we point people back and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I've handled everything.
So
I've
you're helping them build
everything.
basically a profile of trust in themselves. You're helping them
Yes,
realize like you can trust yourself.
There it is right there. Yep.
And it's not like, oh no, Jared, you can't trust you. No, we're all made of this same, whatever you might say, God stuff or innate intelligence that it is in every single person. You might be disconnected from it because we get so used to thinking and intellect and stuff, but it's like a muscle. Like it's like, you stop going to the gym for 2 years, but you go back and your muscles are like, we're ready.
That's right.
Your muscle, this innate muscle, like it's in every single person, no exceptions, and so that's why even like innate health, innate mental health, wisdom and common sense, every single person, like my son, once he had heard me, because I talk about anxiety, this was a couple years ago. And I said, have you ever been anxious? And he's like, no. He said, oh, one time though. He said, I was at a block party.
Good for him.
Well, he's at a block party with his dad. And he said, and I couldn't find dad. I lost dad. And I said, what'd you do? He said, well, I realized that dad wouldn't leave me. So he didn't have my same insecurities. He said, I knew dad wouldn't leave me. And so I knew that if I walked slowly up and down the block, I'd see him. And his sister was there. And he said, and also Mary was there and she had turquoise hair. So I knew if I just walked and I looked for dad and Mary, I'd see them. Nobody taught him that. He was 8 when he
just
had
trusted himself.
Incredible.
But that's what all of us have.
Yeah.
And that's why our wisdom, that's how we solve problems.
Sure.
And it's actually a much more satisfying way where people aren't going to obsess. They're not going to ruminate. They're not going to this thing like that. We all have this wisdom and common sense that, your young kids have, our 11-year-olds kids, whether you're 57, and it gives you to whatever situation is happening in the moment. And it's not the ruminating, it's not the forceful. It's like, and so it's such a more satisfying way. And that's why people don't have to worry. They don't have to live in vigilance or in worry.
Sure.
Um, they start to trust that they will be able to handle whatever life brings, even if that's, oh my God, shit, I gotta call my friend, or I gotta call my, I don't know what to do here. Like whether it's that, because often I'm calling people, um, or I'm getting help. And on that note, I probably have like 10 more minutes just because I
Yeah.
have my new puppy who's been in her crate. It's like she's just today is her first day she's ever settled for me in her crates because I'm her mother.
Heyo.
Um, Even my daughter's been home. My daughter, she doesn't cry, but like until now,
Wow.
she's cried every crate nap and I can't take it. But this is her second crate nap of the
I haven't
day.
heard her
But
once.
it's like, I know, but I'm hearing her peeping a little
Yeah, yeah,
bit.
that's
And
great.
so
No,
I just think,
absolutely. I think we can. Sam, if you got something, I was curious
Mhm.
how you, Lily, how you approach your daily routine, kind of what that looks like and how it evolves for you.
okay, yeah. I think kind of what we were talking about, I don't think it. So I don't have a strict daily routine. It just naturally like the rhythm for me. But the thing is, because it's not strict, I'm naturally going to have a routine, whether I'm here, whether I'm in Europe, um, whether whatever's happening. It's like, I think it runs without my thinking. But so, I just am naturally early riser. But it will ebb and flow, like depending on, it's like very intuitive. Sometimes I'll be in phases where I'm like doing a gym routine. And so I get up at 5 and I go to the gym. I'm not in that routine anymore. So it's like I have a natural, like I stopped wanting to wake up at 5. Oh, like last January, I just was in it. I was like so motivated. I was like following this strict gym routine, which was really fun. I like wake up at 5, and then I just was like, I don't want to wake up at 5 anymore. And so sometimes I don't wake up until 6:45 when I have to wake my son up, but sometimes I just like want to wake up at 6 or 5:45 and either meditate or like sometimes I'll have things where I do like a little tarot card thing, and then sometimes I just feel called to sleep more and just wake up.
Yeah, legitimately, you just go with the
I
flow of it.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
huge. A lot of us we focus too much on our routines.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure
wake up
do.
at 4 to 6. I do this, I do that, blah blah blah.
I was literally
But
just
I
writing that out
found, I mean,
yesterday.
months ago. Now my planning side of me needs a routine to be set, but I find I don't follow that shit at all. Like I got a plan. And I'm just like, all right, cool. I didn't do any of that, and I feel fine with it. And I
yeah,
like that. At least better for me. For other people, they're like, no, I need to do this routine. I need to. Um, I find I'm beginning to be more aligned with kind of how you're living your life, Lily, where it's going with the flow. It is so much more freeing for people out there that are huge planners like myself and Jared. I know he's a huge planner. It is, at least for me, such a more of a freeing feeling. But I still get called back. I'm like, man, probably should have written in my journal. It's been a little while, but I was like, why? Like, who else am I going to talk to? Just myself. I know what's going on up here. So it's
yeah,
having grace and trusting that process, which I think is huge.
yeah. I've seen it ebb and flow for me, and I mean, I think much more regularly, I love like a wind down at night. I take a bath every single night.
Hmm.
But I'm also flexible enough that if I'm in a hotel that doesn't have a bath, I do take a warm shower. It's very rare that I'm not going to somehow, like, I think I've associated with my body, like warm,
Oh
clean,
yeah,
like
Just calms you
that
down.
definitely is like the days.
same.
So yeah, I mean, I'm always either taking a bath or a shower and reading before bed.
Yeah, that's something
But
you
I'm
just do.
flexible enough that
Hmm.
when I was dating, my ex-boyfriend before, like I'm not like I must take a bath before bed and read my book.
It's like,
Like
oh shit, Lily
I'm
hasn't
very
hasn't had her bath tonight. Jeez,
I know.
she could be haunted tonight.
But yeah, I'm flexible, but that's just what I like. I love to wind down and um I have a Kindle and I like prop it up on these two pillows and I like read myself to sleep. I read it until I fall
Yeah.
asleep and it's just like my favorite
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so but I'm not wedded to like, I have to do that to sleep, but I just
Right.
prefer it. And I love to walk in the morning. I have a treadmill desk, but I'm not like, I'm really not rigid now. I was a very rigid person, but if I have something where like yesterday I was at a retreat of sorts, I couldn't walk on the treadmill. Like my schedule's been thrown off having a puppy,
Mhm.
but I do like if I can walk for an hour and a half in the morning, I love it. Like it's so great for my mental and physical health. But I'm flexible enough that, like, I'm not gonna be in a bad mood or I'm not gonna there are some days, like, when I was away for Christmas time, it was so cold in Massachusetts, I, like, barely walked, and I love now.
Massachusetts. What do you,
Yes,
do you have family up there?
my mom's from there, and so we have some houses there, and all my
Nice.
cousins are there, and we'll meet there, but, like, I'm at so much peace at this point of my life that, like, I think that I've ever been at, that there were some days where I, like, literally didn't even take a 5-minute walk, and I mean,
You're okay with
because
it, you're saying?
before I would just
Yeah.
I was yeah, I mean, it's not like, I don't wanna live every day like that, but,
Right,
like, I
right.
was, like, 5 or 6 days, like, I very minimally walked at all. Like, and so that's the most peace that I've ever because normally I'm like, "Well, you must at least walk for
Right.
1
Oh
hour."
my gosh,
And
dude.
now I'm
I totally understand. I was on a trip a few weeks ago, and it was literally like 5:30 to like 10:30. It was so busy, and normally like my morning routine is very important to me, and I really need it. Um, but there were a couple of days where I was like, how am I going to be able to exercise? I literally like I'm meeting people at this time. Like, what the heck? I'm so tired. I also want to be able to sleep.
Just
And
doing some
I was
push-ups in
talking to
between
my
these meetings.
I was talking to my wife, and I'm telling her this, and she's like, Jared, why don't you just like take 10 minutes? You don't need to do your hour plus workout, dude. Just do a 10-minute workout. Lily, I don't know what it was.
He
I
says
didn't even think
hour.
that.
Dude.
I didn't know, Lily. I literally didn't even think that as a possibility. And when she gave me that permission almost, I was like, oh yeah, of course. I got 10 minutes. Like I could do this.
but,
Man, so many of us are
you know
go through that.
yeah. But when you said that, Jared, like, that's kind of exactly what I do in my membership. Like, it's something simple like that. Like, it's not those exact words, but when your wife said, I didn't even know that was a
Yeah.
possibility, but like, it clicked for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And it's like, sometimes, like, wait,
I can tell that's what
like,
you
that's
do.
a possibility.
You're that external permission for people effectively, right? It's like, or not,
Yeah.
just like a little, it's not like a permission. It's that it's not like I needed her permission. It's like when she brought it up, I was like, that's a great idea. I've been so in my own way.
No, it's
I forgot
definitely
about
the
that.
external thing, man. We all go through that. We all go through this. We need that permission. It's not a permission that someone's giving us, but subconsciously our subconscious needs that permission to feel like we're okay doing certain things.
Well, it's like a fresh perspective because we're
Yep.
so zoomed in.
Yep.
We're like one
We're so
hour or
myopic
nothing.
with
And I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know what you mean because it's something where you're like, oh my God. Like, it's because it's the answer is so simple.
So
You
simple.
could just do 10 minutes. It's like, what? Because it's like, I'll do that. I'll
Can I do
overcomplicate
that?
it. And like when somebody says something, it's like, what? Like, I didn't even know. I just love that because I so was that way, especially like black or white thinking too,
Yeah,
which was
that's
like,
my brain, definitely a black and white thinker as well.
Well,
yeah, because when you're talking about the perfectionist stuff, it's either like I'm gonna walk
Yep.
or like I think I've gotten so okay with like which I know I'm not, but like a couple months ago it was like I'm mediocre. Like I'm never gonna have the hottest body. I'm never gonna be that beautiful.
I
I'm
always
never
call myself the average guy.
I was perfect and mediocre. And I like loved it. Like which is like I'm just ordinary. But like it took so much pressure because it was like
Hmm.
I don't know, but it was I'm just ordinary.
And you felt peace with that.
Yeah.
Is what
Everyone
you're
is
saying.
extraordinary. Well, we're
Pardon
gonna
me?
respect your time, Lily.
Yeah.
You mentioned you read a lot.
I was
What
just
is a
gonna ask
book
that.
that you're currently reading right now?
I
That's
want,
how
I
we like
want
to end our
fiction and
shows.
nonfiction. Like, hit us with what you're.
Okay.
Yeah, hit us.
Okay. Well, I just finished a fiction book last night, actually, and kind of talking about another thing that I'm at peace with.
Yeah.
I woke up and I had to take my puppy out at like 2 a.m. and I wasn't tired and I just read my book. I used to be so obsessed about sleep.
Yeah.
And
heck
now I'm
yeah.
like, just not precious about it. Like, I was like, whatever. And so I finished my book, which was, I love this woman. She's an author, Frida McFadden. She's a prolific writer, and all of her books are like psychological thrillers of sorts, but they're very innocent. They're very easy reads. So I read The Wife Upstairs by Frida
Oh
McFadden.
yeah.
I absolutely love it. I've read probably 15 of her books.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
just love them.
Frida, yep.
And then-
Frida, Frida McFadden.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
I think my wife read this book.
It's
It's something about like the guy like kills. I'm gonna butcher it. Never mind. Just
Okay,
go
but
for
that
it.
was a good fiction.
Just
Yeah, and you like her a lot.
I love her. I mean, if anyone's like quick read, super satisfying, like not too scary, disturbing, like just extremely satisfying. I just know I'm going to get a Frida McFadden. I'm going to be hooked. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
I know that
quickly.
name for sure.
Perfect.
And then a nonfiction book, I'll say, what I'm reading, it's the third time I've read it, but I'm reading it with my membership, called The Secret to Mental Health by George Pransky. And it's a lot of the principles and the simple premises that we've been talking about in this podcast. George Pransky is one of my mentors, an amazing psychologist himself. And it's funny I've read it before, and some of the people in the group have read it before, and they're like reading it. It's like, I totally missed this sentence.
Wow.
It's the best book club I've ever run. Everyone comes and they're ready, and we kind of go 3 chapters at a time, and people just sharing their insights. And
that's cool.
he covers just mental health, innate health in general, and then also goes into kind of specifics. And it's a wonderful blend of some of the science behind it, of like, oh, they did this research, and then kind of some more of the spirituality and just deeper principles. And so that's my nonfiction
Add that
book.
to my list for sure.
Yeah. Is it the operating
it's
manual
really
to the human mind, it says? Yeah. An operating manual to the human mind. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Lily, this has been so good. Honestly, I just feel like lighter.
Yes, thank you.
And
thank
so
you for giving
grateful.
us permission to let go.
Well, thank you for taking your time. It's very valuable, and
truly.
I love just seeing through your story how you've evolved, and us as human beings, how we can evolve, and it's just been so beautiful. We really, really appreciate it. We will, I guess let's just kind of end with telling people where they can find out more about you specifically, your TikTok, your IG handle, and I'm sure you have a website where people can check it out.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for wanting to talk to me. I've just also enjoyed it. Like, I've been in such a good feeling. And that's the thing of like, what I talk about putting the intellect to sleep, is it's all about the feeling.
Yeah.
And like, you guys have put me in a good feeling ever since we first started talking.
Oh,
and I
that's
think
good.
that's the most healing thing for anxiety, for mental, is you're just coming here and we're just talking as friends, And so you're both wonderful hosts, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
we love hearing about people's lives. We appreciate the personal details that you give.
We just love people
in your
We'll
life.
talk.
I mean, that's
so. Tell us your
I'll talk to
website,
anybody on the bench.
website, and socials.
Yeah, TikTok, it's just at Peace From Within. And then Instagram is an _ Peace From Within. And then my website is peace-from-within. But if you go to wherever you find me on social media, there's always links to things. As I said, I'm really making videos. It comes from a place of inspiration 99% of the time. Sometimes, honestly, I'm like, make a video.
Yeah.
But most of I'm just inspired. I love it. And I really love sharing this understanding, because it changed my life. And I think the more people that are more in their lives and just in a good feeling, the better the world will be.
Thank you.
Oh, hell
I love
yeah,
that. Let's be beacons of helping people, of touching people and helping them become in a good feeling. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Oak Road Diaries. We really appreciate you, and we really, really do hope that it added even the tiniest bit of value to your life.
If you felt that the conversation resonated with you, we invite you to share it, because you really never know who needs to hear this today.
You can find more tools for intentional living and the 7 pillars of transformation at thehappyatrium.com, or connect with us on our socials at thehappyatrium. We'd love to see and interact with you there.
Until next time, keep tending to your inner child, one breath, one step, and one story at a time.
Take care, and we'll see you down the road.